dies tonight.
Despite there not being much said in episode 5's trailer, the expressions and emotion conveyed through the Flynns, Diamond and Tommy spoke volumes. Although the 3 words that were spoken by Claudia Flynn did give us an insight into what's coming next. He dies tonight, with a message that reads, "Are you ready for what's next?" And I think we all know what's in store for episode 5. It's about to be a bloodbath, and the Flynns are going to be at the center of it all. Claudia and Vic spoke about a daring move that will change the landscape of Chicago's drug trade forever, but are they actually ready for the aftermath? We've all seen what happens in the past with these father and son killings. It doesn't always go to plan, and there's also a lot of external factors when it comes to the Flynns. For example, Dublin. We've also got Tommy and Diamond, but beyond that they haven't given us anything else, so I will be piecing some clues together with the scenes from the season trailer and official trailer that matches up with episode 5, which gives us more of an understanding of what we can expect in Force Season 2, episode 5. Now the title of episode 5 is Crown Vic, and the synopsis reads, Heightened police presence threatens Tommy and Diamond's bottom line, and they form a coalition with a rival drug gang. Jenard hits rock bottom, and the Flynn family loyalties are tested with devastating results.
This is your legacy, son. Your birthright is a Flynn. What you've been waiting for your entire life.
Now, ever since season 1, we all know Walter saw Vic as the heir to his throne, and the title Crown Vic gives us a huge clue as to what's coming next. The title symbolizes transition of power, influence, and leadership, with Vic succeeding his father. It represents a victory for Vic Flynn, who's about to take over, a changing of the guard. But we all know Walter Flynn won't go down without a fight, so will it go down exactly how they planned? Ever since the beginning of season 1, Claudia's wanted power, and she got a slight taste of it when she was running her own hustle with Dahlia, which is what made her more dangerous. If you give someone a taste of power and then rip it away from them, you're going to see them resist and try and regain that lost power. This is exactly what we're seeing play out with the Flynns. Walter gave Claudia a position within the Flynn family organization, but ripped it away from her and gave it to Vic, but there was more.
Everything I had was in that safe.
You see, I thought about that before you changed the passwords on the dialysis accounts.
Okay, look, maybe we can take this down a notch, huh?
So there was a little cat and mouse game between them. Walter gave her power and took it away. He used it to get to Vic back on side. She changed the passwords to the dialysis accounts, and then Walter cut her access to all her credit cards, just like a 16-year-old. This left Claudia with nothing, and one of the reasons why she wants to make a move on her father. A partnership with the Serbs is something Walter would never agree to, but for as long as Walter's alive, she'll never wear the crown, and I don't think she'll wear the crown even after episode 5 either. Dublin won't let that happen, even if she is sleeping with Doyle. The gender dynamic runs all the way through to Ireland, and I don't think it's going to go the way Claudia's planning. Now, this was one of the scenes from the official trailer where we have Claudia Flynn with Brendan Doyle. They get interrupted by someone coming into their apartment, which looks like Vic Flynn. But this tells me that Claudia and Vic will draft Dublin in to help assassinate their father. There is no way they can do it without them, and there's no way they can do this without Dublin say so. They run Chicago from Ireland, well at least the north of Chicago anyway, and they have to approve of the hit. Now, someone who does seem like he's back on Walter's side to help fight this war with Dublin and their kids is Uncle Paulie. This marks a complete change from the end of episode 4, where Walter Flynn told him his services were no longer required. But if there's one thing we've learned about Uncle Paulie is, he will serve Walter Flynn until his dying breath, which brings me on to the implications of what happens if Walter Flynn is killed, which is looking more and more likely. There's going to be a bloodbath, no doubt, we're in for one hell of an episode. But if Claudia and Vic do want to do this, then they're going to have to take out Uncle Paulie as well, because there is no way he would stand for Walter's kids taking out their father. Would they want Uncle Paulie caught in the crossfire though? That's the question. I think Claudia's that type of person to say it is what it is on the way to power, and it does seem like Claudia wants the crown at all costs. And that's another issue entirely. How far is Claudia willing to go? Because as far as long as Vic is around, he will be next in line whether he wants it or not. Brendan Doyle and Dublin probably won't give him a choice. This also goes back to Claudia playing her hand, and one of the reasons why she's been sleeping with Doyle. She knows what game she's playing. But will it end the way they think? Looking at this particular scene, I don't think so. Now, moving on to Tommy and Diamond, the synopsis teases that they will be forming a coalition with a rival drug gang because of the heightened police presence. It also says Jenard will hit rock bottom, which could potentially go hand in hand. We all know at some stage the CBI will begin to expand, especially at the rate they're offloading their product. There was this scene in the official trailer with Diamond, Tommy and Vic Flynn with a much larger CBI than what Tommy and Diamond started with in episode 1. And I can only assume with Jenard's crew leaving them, they could potentially move over to the CBI or join forces again. Although there would be still that Chewie and Little K death that would still be in the back of some of those soldiers' minds, so I'm sure that would have to be hashed out before that happens. The other alternative is a new crew, and this takes me back to the map of Chicago and who controls what territory. Walter Flynn, or soon to be Vic, controls the north side. West Town belongs to Merkovich, Little Village and Brighton Park is Miguel Garcia, the CBI have Marquette, and Jenard has Southside. But what about all the other surrounding areas? Who controls that territory? There are a few gangs that were spoken of in the past like Zamost and the Yardies, among a few others. So I think that's the question they may or may not answer, and we may see a new few players being introduced in episode 5, especially if the CBI are forming a new coalition. In regards to Jenard hitting rock bottom, I don't think that will be a surprise to anyone. He needs to keep up payments with Miguel Garcia, who gave him a stark warning, and then there's Merkovich, who gave him a reminder his payment was due. And Jenard's organization at this moment in time is completely done, and I think he only has one play left: approach his brother for help. It's the only way I can see him getting out of this situation, also because he's losing control, and people within his own organization are beginning to take notice. Now that brings me onto this scene with what looks like Diamond in hospital. At some point we're also going to see Tommy coming over and checking up on him, and I previously said if this shit happens with Diamond's family, even if it is with Jenard, you can see Tommy telling Diamond, do what you gotta do and I'll hold down the CBI. So I can really see Diamond and Jenard making things right. I really don't see Diamond just letting Jay being consumed by drug addiction. Now with Tommy's story, he's got a big issue on his hands with D-Mac.
If I even hear that you out on them corners hustling, I might have to kill you myself. Don't test your Uncle Tommy.
He did warn him earlier in the episode, don't test your Uncle Tommy, and we've all seen what happened with Tariq St. Patrick. In my episode breakdown, I mentioned how they made very similar moves in both of their first kills being crooked cops, but will D-Mac go down the same path as Tariq? That's going to be Tommy's biggest worry. Killing Seamus was just the beginning for D-Mac, because the consequences will be huge. We also saw what road Tariq went down, and Tommy will try and avoid the same for his nephew in Chicago. But how does he do that? Tommy may want to discipline him one way, but JP may want to deal with him another way. So this is going to be something that may just cause a bit of conflict. There's also the aftermath of D-Mac shooting a cop. He's going to go down as missing, and will Bobby DeFranco and Stacey Marks add this to their death toll, connecting this to Tommy and the CBI? So law enforcement's next move will be very interesting, especially after Alicia name-dropped Vic Flynn as Colin's murderer in season 1. Which brings me onto this scene. Is this Vic Flynn being pulled in by law enforcement? And if this is, will he talk? But that is where I'm going to leave it with the breakdown for episode 5 trailer, because there wasn't anything much else in there. It was very short and they really didn't give anything much away. But despite it not being as detailed as the previous ones we've seen, I think we've all got an idea of what's in store. It's going to be an absolute bloodbath of an episode. In my opinion, Walter Flynn is definitely on his way out. It's just a matter of how it happens, and will it go down the way Claudia and Vic have planned, or is there a twist to the tale? Always expect the unexpected when it comes to power. So drop all your thoughts and predictions down below for an episode that will completely change the game for Power Book 4 Force Season 2.